ClubExpress Advanced Service Request Features for Villages. A core function of Villages is managing member services and the providers who provide those services to members. Services are organized into categories, and each service is provided through service providers who can be contractors, member volunteers, or non-member volunteers. The Member Services function is used to add, edit, and manage member service requests. We're already logged into one of our demo sites as an administrator. To manage the service requests, go to the Control Panel, click on the Services tab, then click Member Services. The video called Overview and Member Services for Villages explains the screen in detail, including how to filter the display and show only the results that you need to work with. The Adding Service Requests video covers creating the two most common types of requests, transportation and those provided in a member's home. Please review that video as it goes into detail about how to select the requesting members and the service providers. This video focuses on contractor referrals and office time requests. We'll also look at the Find a Contractor and the Be a Volunteer/Contractor modules. Below the search panel are several buttons that you use to create service requests. Let's review the buttons. The Transportation Request button is used to create a new service request for a transportation service to be fulfilled by a volunteer. The Member's Home Request button creates a new service request to be fulfilled by a volunteer in the member's home. The Contractor Referral button creates a new contractor referral where members are provided with the names of one or more vetted contractors who can help them with their needs, usually for a fee. And the Office Time Request button creates an office time request where a volunteer, either a member or a non-member, helps the village itself rather than a specific member. When you click the Contractor Referral button, a screen is displayed that's similar to the forms for creating a transportation or member's home request. This screen is simpler because many of the fields are not shown, for example, transportation information, date and time, action buttons, etc. Unlike transportation or member's home requests, there is no scheduling of this service. The service providers are not contacted by the village staff for this request. The purpose is to email a list of vetted service providers to the member, who then contacts the providers directly. As with other service requests, you fill in a member, fill in a description, select a service category, service, and service providers. In this case, we're looking for a plumber, so we select the Indoor Home Services category, then select the plumber service. Clicking on Add Service Providers shows the service provider selection screen that has fewer options than for the scheduled services. When selecting providers, the Contractors and Fully Vetted buttons are automatically selected, but you can click the Volunteers button to include member and non-member volunteers who also provide this service, and if appropriate, you can uncheck the Fully Vetted to further expand the list. The initial status of each provider chosen will be either contact by email or contact by phone, depending on the provider's preferred contact method. As with any other list of service providers, there are actions available. You can delete someone from the list, edit their details, check their service history, general availability, vacation calendars, and add notes. Once you have determined the list of contractors to refer to the member, click the Send Info button to have the system send an email to the member with the list of contractors. The Staff Notes field is automatically updated to reflect the date the email was sent and who sent it. There are only two status values for a contractor referral. It's either open or completed. When the form is saved, the request will be in the list as one with no date. Many villages use volunteers to help with office functions, including check-in calls, filing, database updates, marketing programs, etc. Let's look at the three initial setup tasks that are accessed from the Setup section of the Control Panel Services tab. For detailed instructions about each of these steps, please review the video called Configuring Categories, Services, and Options for Villages. On the Services category screen, where you configure the categories into which services are grouped, create a service category for office tasks. It can be called anything. Then on the Services screen, where you define the services that your village offers, create one or more services for office tasks, being sure to assign them to the office task category. Next, go to the Service Options screen and specify which category will be used for office time requests. You should also specify a dummy member account to which all office time services will be assigned. Once the setup steps are complete, we return to the Member Services screen and click the Office Time Request button. With Office Time Request, there's no need to specify a member since the request is automatically assigned to the dummy Office Time member that you've already created. There's also no need to specify a category. The system automatically knows what services to display, but you will still pick a service from within that category. Adding volunteers is the same as for a normal service request. Click the Add button to display a list of volunteers who can provide this service, select one or more of them, contact them, and adjust the provider status as necessary. The buttons below the list of service providers behave the same as with member service requests. Click the Send Request button to email volunteers asking if they can help with this office time request. Click the Send Confirmations button to email volunteers who have been confirmed for this request. And click the Send Not Needed button to email anyone listed as not needed. When you click Save, the office time request is saved. These entries can be shown in the main Member Services screen. You can also hide them by unchecking the Office Time Service category. When viewing any service request, you can click the Mark Complete icon. The service request status is changed to completed, and you'll see the Complete Service Request screen. If no service providers were selected, you'll see this screen. However, if one or more service providers was selected, a screen is shown where you can enter the ratings and comments about the service provided, typically based on feedback from the member. Click the stars to record a rating. Each star can be clicked as full or half. You can also store any comments provided by the service provider. You can also verify the duration of the request with the provider, mileage driven for the transportation service, and any direct expense incurred, such as tolls and parking. If the duration field is left blank, it will be calculated automatically based on the listed service request start and finish times. There are reports in the system to collect this information so that volunteers can claim tax deductions and also allow your village to report aggregate time to donors and foundations. This information can be verified by a responsible staff member. If more than one provider is selected for a service request, the ratings, comments, duration, mileage, and expense fields are shown for each selected provider. Click Save to save your changes and return to the Member Services screen, or Cancel to return without making any changes. Let's look at the Find a Village Contractor module. This function can be found on the Control Panel's Services tab. Some villages prefer that all contractor requests go through the village office so the village staff members can follow up with members to make sure everything was satisfactory. Other villages allow members to look up contractors on their own from among a list of vetted contractors in each service. This module handles that need. There's no admin side to this function, just a user side that can be placed on your menus. So clicking the View icon displays this screen. Select the service category and the service list will refresh to show just the services in that category. Select the service and the lower part of the screen will refresh to show the contractors who provide that service. Contractors are shown on a Google map. Below that is a listing showing the company name and contact person, the address, and phone numbers. Buttons are available to send an email and jump to the company's website. If ratings have been recorded for this contractor, they'll also be shown, as will any special discounts or programs for village members. Note that the Find a Village Contractor module is already enabled for Google Analytics. If your village has created a Google Analytics account, you can see when and how often the screen is accessed by members looking for a contractor. The Be a Volunteer/Contractor module can be placed on the public side of your website. It allows non-member volunteers and contractors to register to provide services to village members. Volunteers could be willing to help members with transportation or various tasks around the house. Contractors are interested in providing services to members for a fee, including plumbing, electrical work, gardening, etc. All service providers typically need to go through a vigorous vetting process, including interviews, references, and background checks before they're permitted to provide services to members. Once the 2-page form is completed, people and companies that sign up through this form are added to your non-member database with a status of not fully vetted. An email is sent to a designated staff member to let you know that someone has signed up using the form. This tells you to begin the vetting process, including whatever interviews, references, and background checks need to be performed. To configure the module, go to the Services tab and click the Be a Volunteer/Contractor link. The Editor panel allows you to define a preamble text that will be displayed at the top of the data entry screen. Use this section to explain to potential volunteers and contractors how the vetting process works. You can enable this module for non-member volunteers only, for contractors only, or for both. You can also specify a staff member or administrator who will be notified whenever somebody completes the form. Click Save to save your changes and return to the control panel, or Cancel to return without saving. Once you're done, the module can be added to the public menu. It makes no sense to add it to the members menu since this feature is specifically for non-members and contractors. It can also be linked to a button placed on the home page or a custom web page. When someone clicks the link, they'll see the data entry page. They'll see your preamble text at the top, and if this option is enabled for both volunteers and contractors, they need to select one option and then add their basic contact information. Clicking Next takes them to the second screen that lists the services provided by the village. Volunteers and contractors can check off one or more services that they're willing or qualified to provide to village members. Clicking Submit enters this information into the database. Clicking Cancel cancels the operation and returns the user to the home page. Note that the Be a Volunteer/Contractor module is also enabled for Google Analytics. If your village has created a Google Analytics account, you can see when and how often this screen is accessed by potential volunteers and contractors interested in providing services to village members. So now you have seen how to use and configure 2 types of service requests, contractor referrals and office time. And we've looked at 2 modules that you can place on your website to let members find contractors and let non-members sign up to be service providers. Please review the companion videos that cover the range of features available for aging in place villages. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.